Here in Lloyd, some schools are taking time this week to hold Remembrance Day assemblies as they will have the day off next week. We went down to Rendell Park School to take in the moment. Students respectfully listened as the honor guard entered the gym and then took in how their community is connected to veterans through a PowerPoint highlighting some of the teachers and students' relatives' service. The ceremony is important to staff and students.
Really awesome. I just talked to some teachers and they said how meaningful it felt, and having the choir and feeling the fullness of this gym has been really great. And I think we're in a unique role where we're able to teach kids about the importance of Remembrance Day, and that makes it just even that more meaningful.
Today's assembly was about remembering the people who fought in war and the ancestors who fought.
Students made wreaths with the help of their teachers and ceremoniously placed them in the front of the gym before observing the honor guard exit. A program running for the 4th year now at Holy Rosary High School is motivating students to try out different activities on kinesiology. The course focuses on all aspects of the curriculum, and they even took a trip to Edmonton for the students to do some fitness tests. Here's Shelby Clark with more.
With the kinesiology course, students have been focusing on health science 20, physical education 20, and exercise science 30.
So it's set up to just prepare students to go into the kinesiology field so that when they're going into a lab, they have some previous knowledge with their anatomy, they know their anatomical positioning, they've done a dissection before. They're also the students that are predominantly are athletes, so they don't like to sit in a desk all day, they like to be actually doing things. So we're in the gym, like I would say, about 50% of the time as well. So.
Students in the class went to University of Alberta earlier this week to experience fitness lab tests for elite athletes. They also received a tour of the kinesiology faculty at the school and even watched an Edmonton Oilers hockey game to end off the day.
So we did a body composition testing, we did a wind gate analysis, and we also did VO2 max testing, which was quite awesome for our kids. So the bike that one of our students sat in was the bike that Connor McDavid gets to sit in, that they actually do. We compared our stats to the Oilers stats, and they got to see kind of what someone who takes kinesiology gets to do throughout like their university career, and then what they can do with that after they graduate.
Many of the students benefit from the hands-on learning approach when it comes to this kinesiology course, like using these bananas to learn anatomical positioning.
Yeah, I find that it definitely helps me to understand what we're learning a lot more, and I find that it just brings it into perspective what we're doing here.
Both staff and students believe this course is great motivation for them to figure out what they're doing post-secondary and is highly recommended for future students.
You know, it's more of an introduction into medical stuff. I want to be a doctor when I grow up, and I find this a good introduction in what all the terms, all the stuff I'm going to have to face. So I find it's a basic introduction to all that stuff.
Shelby Clark, Primetime Local News.
Lloydminster Sexual Assault Services is celebrating their 40th anniversary with a gala in February. The gala is also being used to raise money for important renovations to their building. Our Abby St. John has more.
On February 11th, Lloydminster Sexual Assault Services is hosting a Night Under the Stars themed gala to celebrate 40 years in service.
We have a band, Chris the Sky Band, coming out, live and silent auction items, and then just a full catered meal, prime rib and Greek chicken, and hoping to sell this year's event out to celebrate the services that we offer, and also to promote a massive fundraiser that we're needing to do for our building.
The fundraiser is going towards the basement of their building that is in dire need of renovations.
In July, BioClean Disaster Services, who is our signature sponsor for the gala, they came by and they did an assessment of our foundation of our 1927 community building, and told us that it's crumbling. So basically we need to do an extensive repair of our foundation to ensure the safety and security, not only for the staff and volunteers, but for our clients in the community that are coming into this space. So we're looking at raising $450,000, which is a massive undertaking for our organization and not something that we've done before. So we're looking for not only sponsors for the gala itself, and we have some great ones like Stingray and the Goat and Synergy that have come on board as gold level sponsors at this time, but also what we're looking for is elite foundation sponsors. And so these are folks that are willing to contribute increments of $25, $50, or $100,000. And we just secured our first one last week with Synergy Credit Union, donating $50,000 towards our goal, which is a fantastic way to start us off. But essentially what Jody from BioClean said is if we don't start tackling this issue, we're going to see those structural issues in our space within the next 3 years. And the way that this helps our building is the last 6-7 years, the community has stood by us and built the Advocacy Center, the Little Bear Child and Youth Advocacy Center, all the renovations, the teen space, Lily's Den, everything like that. And you'll see some of these images come through here that this building is amazing for survivors of sexual violence, and we want to keep it for another 100 years.
LSAS provides life-changing services to anyone who has experienced sexual violence.
We provide services to a 200-kilometer radius, which is not a small area. So the closest sexual assault centers to us would be North Battleford, Bonnyville, or Edmonton or Saskatoon. So servicing this broad area is necessary. We have been in operation for just about 40 years now. That's why we're doing this. And just a few stats for you too. The last year we've provided services to 700 clients. So this is an issue that is in our community, in surrounding areas that we need to be here. It is an essential service for healing and for hope for the survivors in our community. The other thing to think about too is in 2020 there was a provincial study done in Alberta with 45% of Albertans disclosing that they've experienced sexual violence. And that also equates to 2 in 3 girls and 1 in 3 boys who've experienced it before the age of 18. And these numbers are heavy and they are staggering. So this building is an essential need within our community to continue providing these services.
LSAS is still looking for sponsors at any level to buy individual tickets or a full table.
We are looking for gold, silver, and bronze level sponsors at this point. And that can be anything towards supporting, contributing to the meal, the midnight lunch, the band, or just that cash donation to go towards our massive goal. So we're looking for those folks now. Businesses can purchase a table, and if they can't attend, they can actually purchase a table for other nonprofit organizations to attend, which is a great opportunity for our partners. Tables are $800 each or $100 a ticket and seat 8 people. We are looking for silent auction items. I know we did a blitz yesterday, which was a lot of fun, but anything that can come in to help raise some funds is greatly appreciated. If folks are interested, they can call Emma for ticket purchases at 306-825-8255, or they can connect with me about sponsorship opportunities as well, same number. And then for the elite foundation sponsors, if you're thinking, hey, we can actually contribute big to this cause and we would really like to help, I can send over some PDF packages and share any of that stuff. So please don't hesitate to call, and I'd be happy to connect and bring coffee and have those conversations.
For Primetime Local News, I'm Abby St. John.
Lloydminster Stockade Roundup is one of the premier cattle shows in Western Canada. Most of the shows are run by the Stockade Roundup Committee, but there is one that's a little different. Our Thomas Wildman has more.
The Saskatchewan Junior Angus Show has been run during the Lloydminster Stockade since 2014. The difference between it and most typical shows, from the ages of 9 to 21.
All right, so it's an opportunity for Junior Angus youth to come together, show your cattle, participate in numerous competitions such as photography, literature, conformation, showmanship, and grooming. The executive board, it's kind of cool. You get to plan your own show, you get to meet lots of people through the board, and yeah, it's just an all-around great opportunity.
The Conformation Show is separated into 2 parts, the Open Division and the Owned Division. The Open Division is where a junior shows an animal that is owned by their family, where in the Owned Division the animal is in the junior's name. There are also competitions for literature, photography, and judging. And while it is quite competitive, the connections made from showing are invaluable.
It's a really good opportunity to make lots of connections. You meet lots of other youth who are going to be doing the same thing for a long time. So those early connections, there's so many opportunities within the industry. So yeah, just those connections, those opportunities, everything, it kind of all comes together, just building you up as a more experienced person.
Thomas Wildman, Primetime, Local News.
And now here's a look at today's agriculture prices. Now it's time for us to check in once again with Shelby Clark, who has an extended look at your evening weather forecast.
Thanks so much again there, Mr. Jace Mackey. Now taking another extended look at your weather forecast, we will be starting off with our central zone of the provinces, and we have warmed up slightly, just by a couple degrees in some spots over on our Alberta side for sure. Seeing that -1 over in Jasper, -2, 3 for Edson and Athabasca. We start to cool down from there with Whitecourt just hitting -4, and we are seeing that -5 and 6 for Rocky Mountain House and Edmonton, and Red Deer is looking the coolest compared at -8. But switching over to our Saskatchewan side to check them out, they are still looking quite cool down compared to yesterday, so kind of seeing the same conditions as what they saw. -5 for Prince Albert and over in Melfort, while it is -6 for Meadow Lake and Saskatoon, and North Battleford is almost matching with us here in the border city at that -8, and seeing -7 up in Cold Lake. So definitely seeing those minus marks for our central zone still, but what can we expect? We're in the winter season. Going over to our northern zone, they have cooled down just like the rest of us. Seeing that -5 for most spots over on our Saskatchewan side, -8 for Uranium City and Walston Lake, and Stony Rapids is looking the coolest compared. Going back to our Alberta side now to check them out, they have warmed up slightly from what they were looking at yesterday. Seeing that -2 and 3 in most spots over in these ends. So seeing those minuses, but still quite low down numbers for like -2, -3, not looking too bad. Fort Chipewyan and High Level seeing the coolest with that -7. But as we go over to our southern zone, they are definitely beating out the rest of us, especially for Lethbridge at that 1 point. What's going on, Lethbridge? We're kind of jealous. Calgary and Medicine Hat seeing just -1, while there's -2 over in Banff. Coronation is slightly cooler compared to the rest for sure at -9. But they are still seeing, like the rest of us, some quite heavy snowfall. So please make sure everyone is staying safe and driving safe, and just making sure they are driving carefully and slowly, because, you know, we all are getting used to those driving with the winter season. I know it's pretty hard to get back adjusted, but I know we can do this. And now ending off with our Saskatchewan side, in our southern area, they are looking around the same conditions as what they were looking at yesterday for sure. Estevan is still seeing the warmest with that -1, while the rest have cooled down from there. -3, -4 in most spots, and Swift Current is just at -6, and Kindersley is the coolest compared to the rest, just at -8. But now looking at some overnight temperatures that we will expect into our Friday. We are almost at the end of our week here. We are going to be seeing those double digits continue on for our evening lows. Low of -12 that Bonnyville will expect, and a low of -11 that Meadow Lake is going to be seeing. Provost and Paradise Hill will be seeing a low of -13, and Isla Cross will be expecting slightly warmer with that low of -9. So we are definitely going to be cooling down for tonight, so make sure you got your furnaces ready and heaters, whatever you're using, extra blankets. But also the condition-wise, we won't be seeing a high chance of some flurries in these spots, so that'll be nice to see. Looking at more spots here, we are going to be seeing those double digits. Mernon will just be expecting that low of -11. Most, as you can see, will be seeing that low of -12. Calgary will be expecting slightly warmer compared to the rest with that low of -7. Seeing that single digit, not too bad. And these spots as well will be expecting no high chances of some flurries throughout the evening, so I think we will get a nice break for tonight as we head into Friday. And ending off with our 7-day forecast for here in the Borta City, we will be seeing -3 for a high tomorrow on Friday. Won't be expecting too much sun, unfortunately, so it'll be kind of like today. We will be seeing a gloomier day, but slightly warmed up from what we have been looking at today with that -8, -9 for today. So that'll be nice for our Friday to start off the weekend. Seeing -2 Saturday, although a high chance of some flurries Saturday, so we're getting hit hard. Just be prepared, get the shovels ready and the wardrobe ready. Have your big, thick winter coats, because you're going to need it. Then we will be looking at double digits, -10, -11 for Sunday and Monday as we head into next week. So get prepared. Winter season is officially hitting. And then Tuesday next week, we will be looking at -9 with a little bit more flurries hitting as well. Expected around 5 to 10 centimeters on Monday night. And then Wednesday, Thursday next week, we won't be expecting flurries, but we will be cooling down and seeing that -8 and -1 next Thursday. That's all I have for now. Jason Mackey, we'll have our news coming up after the break.
The city is looking for feedback from Lloydminster residents when it comes to Lloydminster's public transportation needs. I'm joined today by Mayor Gerald Albers to talk a little bit more about the survey. But before we dive into that, Mr. Mayor, I understand the city is in the process of completing a transportation master plan. Can you talk a little bit about where the city is in that process?
There's two pieces to this. There is the transportation master plan that affects the entire transportation of the city, where it goes and into the future. And that's a document, a forward-looking document. We do water and wastewater plans. We do transportation and things like that every 5 years. In the case of what we're doing today now with the actual public transportation plan or review and looking at the needs, it's totally separate from the master plan as that. So the public transportation plan is really to engage the public, get a better understanding. We've done this in the past. We've looked at some of these and got some input from people, but we didn't come up with anything concrete. And we're continuously looking for something to try and add to what's existing in our community. And I've heard that from a lot of people. They're looking for a community-based solution to transportation in our city. Cold Lake has gone down the road of public transportation, and they're working through a program. So what we're trying to do is find a made in Lloydminster solution, working with people, helping them understand, because not everyone would reuse public transportation. We heard that clearly in the past, and I continue to go back to that. But in the same token, we know people have identified a need for public transportation. What is it that we're getting to? We don't have that nailed down. That's why we're doing what we're asking for survey people to take that survey, comment on it. We know we have different age demographics and things like that that will play into it, because we already have a seniors transportation program using the taxi cabs. We also work with Morty City Connects to serve some of the needs of residents in this city, but it's not all encompassing. And if we can get to that point, that's where we want to go.
And I know that this public transportation master plan, I believe, was something that council made sure was included in the last budget process. It was a priority that kind of came in during that time. But I was just wondering, I know you talked about made in Lloydminster solution, and there are different community partners when it comes to transportation, particularly for seniors, and the city has the seniors taxi program as well. And we're going through everything of hearing from people for their opinions. But when it comes to that made in Lloydminster solution, what do you think that will entail? Will it be kind of a hybrid model of like a city operating something, or maybe working with an outside group?
I think that's what we're looking for first, to get the input of people, what we need, because to speculate on what will work is kind of getting the cart before the horse. Really, we need to understand how many people would use it, what their expectations of time that they have, because to have a service run from 5 a.m. till midnight may not be a viable service that can be operated in Lloydminster. So how many people can we serve if we move it to 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning? I think that's what the study will help bring out, and ask those questions, and people will provide that input. I think what we're looking for, from my perspective as mayor and member of city council, is a cost-effective program that will meet a bulk of the needs of the city residents of Lloydminster. We won't be able to meet everybody's needs, nor do we have an unlimited checkbook that we could make that happen. So I think we're looking for that happy medium that will become a made in Lloydminster solution.
So when we're talking about that survey, it can be done online, and people are able to pick up a physical copy to complete at a number of different locations here in the city. But you're hoping to have, I'm assuming you're hoping to have a large amount of people here in the city come and complete that survey, and then those results will be kind of implemented into options that come before City Council down the road.
We will see those results come back to City Council, and they'll be part of the report, that master plan. that will come through the Watt Consulting Group that's been contracted by the city. And they'll be able to tabulate those results, share them with us and say, this is what we're seeing and hearing. And based on that, there'll be some recommendations, I'm sure, that come forward that City Council and administration will have to look at.
So then when we're looking at next steps, once the survey is closed and you get the results, it's going to be kind of a long ways out, because then council will have to kind of decide what direction the city is going to go in, and then finances will come into play as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And from that perspective, I wish we had an instant solution to the problems we face each and every day, but this will take some time because we want to do it right. And I think we want to make sure that people understand what is being asked, what's being presented, have that information and that dialogue in whatever form it may be, your voice, coffee with council, and just getting out and about with that information, because people will want to know how many surveys were completed based on the population. You try to put some perspective into it. How many people do they believe we can be served? They'll fill that out from their surveys and things like that. And then we get some good data to see, because like I say, there's so many models out there that I couldn't name them all from what I've heard about and chatted with fellow mayors and councils from both Saskatchewan and Alberta. And I think that we believe we can find a solution that will hopefully meet the needs of the bulk of people in the city that are looking for public transportation.
Well, thank you so much, Mayor Albers, for sharing some time with us today. Hopefully we can get a lot of people out there to complete this survey, and then we'll see what happens in the months and weeks and years to come.
Well, absolutely. And I do, like you mentioned, there's various ways, and online is the easiest, and encourage people to take advantage of that. But if they're not able to get to a computer, or they rather do it in a hard copy, those are available at City Hall as an example, the public library, the operations center. So those are places that you can reach out and very easy to get to and get copies. And we just need them back by November 16th. That's the important date to try and get them completed so we can get work continuing to move forward.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
I'm happy to be joined today on Primetime Local News by AJ Smith. AJ, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, we have so much to talk about today, but I want to start by talking about your song called Billy Joel. First of all, amazing song. I love the video, the classic sitting at the piano. You got your drink up there. But you have actually had some reaction from Billy Joel himself on this song, is what I understand. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I have. So, I wrote it a while ago with actually a buddy of mine in Toronto. And then when we put it out, all of a sudden one day I get an email from my publicist, and in the subject it says "from Billy Joel," and I'm like, no way. And it turns out that he had heard the song, loved it, and he sent me a note, and we email around the holidays and everything like that. And he's actually invited me to open for him at some point, and I finally just got to meet him at Madison Square Garden in July, I think, or June.
Well, that's pretty amazing to have that happen. And the music style for this song does sound a little like some of Billy's songs. Is he one of your influences? And who else do you look for to inspiration when you're writing and recording music?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think growing up, my first instrument was piano. And so he was one that my mom was, if I was going to be listening to popular music and not classical music, then it was Billy Joel. And the Rolling Stones, she also had me listening to, and Queen. And so I think that those are kind of all my big influences from the classics.
Now, your last single, which was called We're All Gonna Die, has over 1 million streams on Spotify. That must be just an amazing feeling too, because it's, difficult sometimes to get the music out there and get it heard, but then to see that response, that must be awesome for you.
Yeah, it's really, it's a huge milestone. It's my first time that a song has ever done that. So I mean, it's amazing. And the song, despite the title, We're All Gonna Die, it actually has such a positive message. And it's saying that thing that all of us know to be true. But hey, let's seize every day and every moment.
Well, let's talk about your music. If people haven't heard it or haven't had a chance to hear any of your songs, how would you best describe your style of music and the songs that you put out?
Yeah, I guess I would say for the uninitiated, classic rock inspired pop. So, if Freddie and Elvis got together and had a baby with Panic at the Disco, yet then with some very 21 Pilot kind of vibes, then that's me.
Well, tell me about your latest single. It's called Drama. What was the inspiration behind that? What's that about? And how is it doing so far?
Yeah, so, I think everybody's probably had a family argument at times, and there was this one particular just holiday kind of thing, and I just my fiance had gotten into an argument with her family, and she was sad, and I was like, hey, I want to be there for you, and I will be there for you, but I just have to step out real quick and record a voice memo because I just thought of the song idea. And I went and I wrote this song, and then I came back and was like, oh yes, it'll be fine, like, this is what happens. And so that's kind of where the song was born. I ended up creating a whole new story that I tell on this song because I'm not one to air family drama or anything like that. And families fight, that is part of love.
Well, so many artists too, AJ, now are touring. With the way things are with streaming, it's away from buying traditional records like we used to buy. I'm dating myself by saying records, I guess, but touring is a big thing for a lot of artists just to make money. Are you going to be doing a lot of touring? Is that the plan? And will we see you in Canada?
It's definitely a huge goal of mine to get some touring going. More in 2023. I've played a handful of dates down here in the U.S. New York, LA, a lot of the big cities, kind of across in between. I would love to get up to Canada. One of my best friends was in Toronto, and my connection with just the whole music scene and the appreciation among Canadians for live music. I love it. I want to get up there.
Well, I understand too that recently you had another famous connection. This seems to be really happening, but you were on the Kelly Clarkson show. Is that correct?
That is correct.
How was that?
That was wild. I got sort of an email out of the blue, and I'm like, no way, really? They want me? And yeah, so we performed my song "Nobody," which it's pretty funny that was the song because it's a song about not wanting to not make it and have your dreams come true, and we got to play it on the Kelly Clarkson show.
Well, AJ, you've had some amazing things happen to you, and your music is incredible. I had a chance to listen to some of it, and it's fantastic. So, if people are looking to find out more about you, listen to some of your music, what's the best way, and maybe the one place they can go to get a link to all of that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go to my website, ajsmithmusic.com, or to any of my social handles, AJ Smith Music, and you'll find me. And I believe in chasing your dreams, and help me chase mine. Let's all do it together.
Well, thanks so much for chatting with us, AJ, and we really do hope to see you up here on tour sometime soon.
I would love it. Thank you so much.
Ending off with another quick look at your 7-day forecast. Get ready for another gloomy day tomorrow at -3. Don't expect too much sunshine this time. Then get ready for more flurries on Saturday, unfortunately, but we will be warming up on Saturday, then cooling it right down on Sunday. So please make sure you're driving careful and staying warm. Make sure you're wearing layers. Then seeing more snow next Monday and Tuesday. And just be prepared. We will be seeing a gloomy week next week with that -1 next Wednesday and -8 next Wednesday and -1 next Thursday.
All right, well, thank you so much for that, Shelby, and thank you all for joining us tonight for Primetime Local News. Have a good night, and we'll see you again tomorrow.